Decentralization opens up a myriad of job opportunities for the youth whose skills and talents are expected to contribute in nation building. But just how can these opportunities help in the job creation? Find out in this edition of the 7:30 News. Indigents of Lebialem resident in Yaoundé have condemned the barbaric killings of some of their traditional rulers by separatist fighters, describing the act as inhumane. They are calling on the powers that be to bring them to book. A car accident along the cliffs in Adamawa region, that is in MBE, has claimed 6 persons and injured 32. Medical personnel say those hospitalized are responding positively to treatment. In this edition, get the reactions of the injured. Thanks for joining us on this edition of the 7:30 News. I am Gladys Tata.
I urge you once again to put on your face masks, to wash your hands regularly, and to consult a physician or any other health personnel if you notice any symptoms. This is the only way to save lives and to curb the spread of the virus.
Welcome back. The effective participation of young people in the nation's socio-economic life will continue to be at the center of government's action, according to President Paul Biya in his February 10th, 2020 address to the youth. For youths to effectively participate in nation building, employment opportunities have been created and have to be created. The sources of these opportunities are highlighted by Constantine Bomb in the following report.
Cameroonian youths, the future following the promises made by the head of state on February 10, 2021 during his address to the youth.
Projects in road construction, buildings, and landscaping, and all the rest. Each time that a local or a regional authority is undertaking any of such projects, it means the youths of those localities shall be called upon to have much to do in terms of occupation.
The Ministry of Decentralization and Local Development is charged with the facilitation of the process.
Presently, what is happening there is not as orthodox as we would have wanted it to be. That is why we are coming out with this decree that is going to harmonize recruitment in the local public service.
The employment opportunities provided by the devolved bodies are many.
Agricultural projects that will be carried out by the youth who are still vibrant, who have enough energy to work in farms. Those who are not able to open farms, they'll have to seek for employment, and they'll be employed by those who are financially viable to open their own projects.
Multiple opportunities are created for the youth with acceleration of the decentralization process through regional and local authorities.
Community development experts agree that decentralization has opened up a myriad of job opportunities for the population whose skills and talents are expected to build their councils. They add that it is not only possible to tap into existing fields, but equally venture into those which remain underexploited. Clarice Aritakang explains.
360 councils and 10 regions with more than enough to offer in skills, talents and ideas. Decentralization made easy, and business has more than 300 reasons to thrive in Cameroon. Community development, yes, but above all entrepreneurship, springing from innovative minds to create activities only waiting to emerge.
Domains such as town planning are great for job creation. There is the local economy. Sports, youth and education are other sectors to explore. All domains whose competencies will be transferred are useful. Education, health, economy, town planning, housing, agriculture and fisheries are included.
L'agriculture, la pêche, et toutes les autres domaines.
The transfer of competencies has brought along work which municipal authorities are only too aware of: construction, distribution and service delivery in various fields to follow.
Il y a des routes à faire, il y a des bâtiments à construire.
There are roads to construct, buildings to put up. There is training in water and sanitation, and even economy or project management. All these sectors need trained youths.
Tous ces domaines-là nécessitent à ce que les jeunes soient formés.
The ball is now in the court of those willing to make the jump.
The Ministry of Decentralization and Local Development has a clear roadmap of what will be done to get regional councils and assemblies functional in 2021. The roadmap is assisting the regional councils and assemblies in their physical installation, setting up the administrations and drawing up their budgets. Ebenezer Kanga has details of the roadmap.
After the elections, swearing in and installation of presidents of regional councils and executive regional assemblies, the priority action in the roadmap of the Ministry of Decentralization and Local Development for 2021 is the physical installation of the regional councils and assemblies.
We want them to secure these infrastructures and to get installed inside. Next, we want them to have the administration put in place.
Next month, the regional councils and assemblies will hold their first honored council sessions for 2021.
There is a session in March dedicated to the vote of the budget. So we want them to be modern institutions, and we want the budget to be in budget program, as we say.
Also on the roadmap of the Ministry of Decentralization and Local Development is the establishment of a local public service as well as finances of the regional councils and assemblies.
Our local fiscality is not very strong as we would have wanted to be. So we are working with the Ministry of Finance to have it modernized so that we can have more resources.
The Ministry of Decentralization and Local Development therefore has a charge roadmap to get the regional councils and assemblies functional.
Trade ministers of the CEMAC sub-region have validated some 10 draft documents which are intended to ease the movement of services within the zone. In a regional meeting hosted by Cameroon's Minister of Trade, requirements regarding services related to health, education and tourism, among other concerns, were equally addressed. Clarice Aritakang has the details.
9 sectors are involved. Stimulating their growth is thought to be great for sub-regional integration. Stress is on creating an enabling space for services to flourish. Trade chiefs from the CEMAC sub-region believe that investing in these domains through experience and knowledge sharing will guarantee competitiveness and transparency, which are crucial to play a leading role in a continental marketplace.
We have negotiated as custom union, not individually. And it was important also to, to share our point of view, to share also to adopt a common regulation on services. We are on the way. We have, the deadline, the end of the year, December of this year.
Education, leisure, health and social works, construction, distribution, tourism and transport activities are the main targets. The draft documents, which have been validated, will be channeled to the Council of Ministers of the Economic Union of Central Africa for adoption.
The Director General of Taxes, Modest Mopa, has reassured taxpayers in Douala in the littoral region of administrative tolerance in tax collection as a result of difficulties with the implementation of the recent financial reforms. He was speaking in Douala during a meeting to update the taxpayers on the 2021 finance law, which is in force since January this year. Sally Ebenenyoke with details from CRTV Littoral in Douala.
The tax provisions of the 2021 finance law are in line with government's agenda to consolidate public finances. It was therefore necessary for the Director of Taxes to meet with taxpayers of all the sectors in the economy based in the littoral region.
I came to deliver 2 messages. The first one was to congratulate the taxpayers of our country for having met their obligations in 2020. Secondly, I took the opportunity of this visit to have discussion with taxpayers about the reforms that are undergoing within our taxation administration, especially the e-procedures.
The taxpayers welcome the initiative.
If the government would take upon itself to educate the population and also increase the possibility of identifying and registering every taxpayer, then it will improve the tax base.
Because of difficulties expressed with regards to the ongoing reforms, the Director General of Taxes assured the taxpayers that he will sign circulars suspending any sanctions for late payment of taxes. By so doing, the taxpayers will be able to contribute to Cameroon's recovery in a post-COVID economic context.
People of Lebialem Division resident in Yaoundé have condemned in very strong terms the killings of some chiefs and other civilians by separatist fighters. They describe this act as barbaric and inadmissible and hideous. We have details with Gilbert Ongene.
National Museum in Yaoundé, the sons and daughters of Lebialem Division converge to say a big no to acts of terror and barbarism perpetrated on the population.
We want to tell the national and international opinion that we've had enough. These people have committed a certain number of condemnable acts. And our analysis of what they have done so far leads us to question if all of this is to foster cessation.
Members of the elite say these acts, which results to horrendous death and dissolution on the land, deprives locals of their freedom of speech and movement.
That the farms now have new owners who didn't till the soil, who didn't plant the fruits. But today they are harvesting what they didn't plant.
The Director of Cabinet at the Prime Minister's Office, Balungeli Confiance Ebune, Ministers Felix Mbanyu and Paul Tasson have called on sons and daughters of Lebialem to rest their confidence on government, who they say is working with friendly countries where some of the separatists are based to make them face the law.
And on to this lead story, a car accident along the MBE cliff in Adamawa region has claimed 6 lives and injured 32. According to health personnel of the Ngaoundéré Regional Hospital, the 32 injured who are at the intensive care unit are responding positively to treatment. Silas Kwame visited the emergency unit of the Ngaoundéré Regional Hospital and reports that their situation is under control.
26-year-old Maimuna, one of the survivors of the MBE cliff horrific crash, who is now responding to treatment at the Ngaoundéré Regional Hospital, could hardly find words to express her gratitude to God, whom she said saved her life and her 3 children. There were 6 confirmed deaths on the spot, 32 injured, some with serious but not life-threatening injuries. The bus headed to the north and far north regions. According to the authorities who visited the scene shortly after the accident, the carelessness of the driver, who failed to be vigilant trying to overtake another bus, led to the unfortunate incident.
We are here to deplore this ghastly accident which occurred around 4 p.m. and we want to say that because of the carelessness of the driver, we have this kind of accident.
Inquiries are ongoing to establish the full circumstances of the incident.
The hunting season has been launched in the North region by the Minister of Forestry and Wildlife, Jules Dorendongo. On the occasion, the minister reiterated government's determination to pursue actions in developing the activities poaching that generates revenue for communities in the forest zones. Tony Nanyongo reports from CRTV, Garoua.
Hunting has not been fruitful in the past year in Cameroon due to the coronavirus pandemic, which led to a reduction in the number of hunters from 387 in 2019 to 191 in 2020, as well as a drop in revenue from 835 to about 211 million francs CFA. Activities resumed on the 1st of December 2020, and as he officially launched the 2020-2021 hunting season, Minister Jules Dorendongo expressed hope for growth.
We had to wait when we witnessed reopening of international borders. We took advantage of those new measures in order to issue documents enabling professional hunters to come to our country.
Besides the impact of COVID-19, problems like poaching and other illegal activities in protected areas are also preoccupying. According to officials, developing hunting activities in the country as a whole and the North region in particular, which has 32 hunting zones, demands more concerted action so that local communities can fully benefit from the jobs and revenue generated.
People living with disabilities who are bearers of a project in the SME sector can henceforth receive funding from the Ministry of Small and Medium-Sized Enterprises, Social Economy and Handicrafts. The National Center for the Rehabilitation of Persons with Disabilities has signed a convention to this effect with the ministry. By the convention, the ministry will provide financial, technical and managerial assistance to the initiatives of persons with special needs. Beatrice Ngum has the details.
With his fingers on the pen, he conceives this logo. This person with a disability like his mate are skilled in performing tasks that range from serigraphy, drawing to beadworks. Their goal is to start their own ventures. But to do this, they need funds. The National Center for the Rehabilitation of Persons with Disabilities has set out to secure the funds. They have partnered with the Ministry of Small and Medium-Sized Enterprises to accompany the project of these entrepreneurs with special needs.
We used to promote micro-projects, some persons with disabilities. With the expertise of BINMESA, we are going on the level of medium-sized enterprise for persons with disabilities.
For now, the center has some 33 projects pending funding from persons with disabilities. The ministry has agreed to fund them. This partnership, the Minister of Small and Medium-Sized Enterprises says, has as overall objective to promote the socio-economic integration of persons with disabilities.
Students undergoing doctorate training at the Catholic University of Central African Health Institute in Yaoundé have been urged to be resilient and void of juvenile delinquency. This call was made by Professor Claude Abbé today during an inaugural lesson to kickstart the 2021-2022 academic year. The inaugural ceremony was presided over by Professor Gabriel Zinga. And over in the northwest regional capital, Bamenda, locals are reportedly in difficulties due to chronic water scarcity, which has hampered the smooth running of several household and economic activities. The situation, which is an ordeal in the dry season, is worse at the upstation neighborhood, where people have to trek long distances in search of water from wells and streams. Others use their vehicles to purchase water, which has become like dog tears, as you tell us. Kilo Valerie from Bamenda.
To the east of Yaoundé is Akonolinga, a locality in the Nyong and Fumu division of the Center region that lies on the Nyong River. Fishing and agriculture are the population's main occupations. The hospitable people who have opened their doors to a delegation from the University of Buea. They have one mission: to build an annex of the Faculty of Agriculture and Veterinary Medicine.
We have our students, who came here, who did some preliminary studies, and from the conclusions, we found that it would be interesting for the University of Buea to go into the establishment of this antenna.
Without delay, the authorities of Akonolinga have made available this 40-hectare piece of land, state property, for the construction of the UB annex.
We will do all we have in our power to have this project be implemented here.
A project that gives hope to the population, as it will also boost the economy.
We are very glad because of that structure, economic will grow.
Work is still in progress to ensure that all the necessary documents be signed for Akonolinga to officially host the UB annex.
I urge you once again to put on your face masks, to wash your hands regularly, and to consult a physician or if you notice any symptoms. This is the only way to save lives and to curb the spread of the virus.
During the peak of the coronavirus spread in Cameroon last year, there was an increase in activities in almost all laboratories. Several months later, the situation has changed. Let's take you over to the Public Health Emergency Operations Center to meet Baldwin Sama and his guest, Dr. Joseph Fokam, to find out why this sudden change. Hello, Baldwin.
Good evening to you, Gladys Tata. Our guest tonight, Dr. Joseph Fokam, has been so involved working in the laboratory ever since we had the outbreak of the COVID-19 in Cameroon in the month of March last year. We are going to find out from him what has changed, talking about the affluence in the different laboratories several months after we had the peak of COVID-19 in Cameroon. Good evening to you, Doctor.
Good evening, Baldwin.
Several months after we had a peak of the virus in the country, what has changed, talking about the affluence in the different laboratories?
Absolutely, Baldwin. Our first peak for COVID-19 was within the month of May up to July 2020, during which there was also a kind of global lockdown, so there was no traveling around the world. And during this period, we were mainly testing for suspected cases. And that's why during this period also we had a very high rate of positivity. Then afterward, there was a kind of slowdown of the barrier measures, and we also have reopening of borders. So now we are testing two major groups of cases, those who are traveling and also those who have symptoms. And among those who have symptoms, we still have some high rate of positivity. Among the travelers, the rate is very low. So all we really want to emphasize is, be it a traveler or a non-traveler in Cameroon, if you have any sign of COVID-19, especially around 5 days within any risk of exposure, please get tested, because the viral incubation period is within that 5 days, and we are able, with our techniques in the laboratory, to detect both the new and the old virus strain as well.
Thank you so much for always being available as a guest. Contrary to what many may think, work continues in the different laboratories, and if you get to discover any of these symptoms, don't hesitate to have yourself screened for COVID-19. Back to you, Gladys Tata.
Thank you very much, Baldwin Sama, and hope to be again in your company same time tomorrow. And as I was telling you earlier on, in the northwest regional capital of Bamenda, locals are reportedly in difficulties due to chronic water scarcity, which has hampered the smooth running of several household and economic activities. The situation, which is an ordeal in the dry season, is worse at the upstation neighborhood, where people have to trek long distances in search of this precious liquid and from streams and wells. Others use their vehicles to purchase water, which has become like dog tears, as you tell us, Kilo Valerie Salah from CRTV Northwest in Bamenda.
Upstation Bamenda, the street images suggest very little of hardship, but the drive into the suburbs like Bamenda and Kwe unveils a rather challenging twist to life, enveloped in water crisis.
For a week, you might not have water. Sometimes for a month.
A crisis situation to some, but a source of revenue to others.
50 francs per container. Downtown, 300.
After insecurity bled the Bamenda Giant Water Project 4 years ago, this tiny natural source of water in the Bamenda village is perceived as an immediate therapy.
We are here to do studies for water supply, which is a spring source, and the source is sustainable.
The firefighting unit in the past 2 years also fought to silence the water problem in Bamenda, but of recent, an insecurity headline dented any early takeoff of water provision.
2 weeks ago, we were stopped because the terrorists shot on our truck. We can damage it.
Upstation Bamenda is one of the hardest hit neighborhoods in Bamenda by the yearly water crisis.
The Olono-Ovenk Road in the South region will soon be under construction. The construction contract has been endorsed in Yaoundé by the Minister of Public Works and the contracting Italian company SEAS. Work is expected to begin this year and intends to ease transportation of goods and persons between the South region as well as regional integration through the Olonu-Ovenk-Gabon Frontier Road project. Details with Joyce Kimbi Forwajo.
A contract with terms to provide a 70-kilometer-long road between Olano and Ovang. It's a 1x2 axis, 10 meters wide. Inclusive are 13 bridges of 260 meters long. It also envisages the construction of a weighing station and the planting of an automated toll booth. Construction works are already on the timeline.
Few administrative procedures will be completed, and by July, work should start. We have the experience and competent staff to realize the project.
Works are estimated to last for 24 months.
The first meeting to plan the execution of the 26th edition of the Mount Cameroon Race of Hope has held at the Ministry of Sports and Physical Education. It was chaired by the Secretary General of the Ministry of Sports, Joseph Yerima, and attended by the various delegations involved in the organization of the race. And I have here, we will not be having this report now, but maybe today is they are starting the feast period. And we'll be having the Archbishop of Yaoundé, who will now be explaining to us what this feast means.
The Lent is a liturgical moment to prepare the feast of Easter. 40 days when we try to imitate Christ, following all the aspects of his life. During the Lent, Christian people are called to show their faith in many ways.
Well, let's go take you to the littoral region where there's onto this advertorial to talk on the Société Générale Cameroon Bank, which now has a new branch in Dokote in the Douala 3 subdivision. And the new commercial site was inaugurated by the General Manager, Mareme Ndiaye, in the presence of staff and some clients of the SG Cameroon Bank. According to top management, the new branch is to bring their services closer to the population. Madon Kwele tells us more from CRTV Littoral in Douala.
The new branch of the Société Générale Cameroon Bank that has moved from Dogbong, where it was born 10 years ago, to Ndokoti in the Douala 3 subdivision is one of 38 branches across the national territory. After the inauguration of new branches in Yaoundé and Chang, it is the turn of Douala to receive a new branch in this neighborhood which hosts many industries, markets, supermarkets and business persons of the formal and informal sector. The new spacious area comprises 2 automatic cash dispensers, 3 cash desks, 5 account managers, spaces to update customers' files with that of high-end and professional clients, among others. The head of the Société Générale Cameroon Dokoti branch, Simon Ngosoga, promised top management and customers present at this inauguration ceremony their resilience and determination to work hard so as to meet up with the expectations of their diverse clients. She adds that they will do their utmost best to contribute to the overall objective of the banking institution, that of becoming the benchmark relational bank in the market, always close to its customers and chosen thanks to the quality and commitment of its teams. The general manager of Société Générale Cameroon, Marem Ndiaye, while inaugurating the site, outlined the advantages of this area, that of providing customers with a larger and more secured car park. The general manager congratulated staff of Société Générale Cameroon in their strategies of promoting the use of digital solutions. This through the SG Connect mobile application to reduce visits linked to basic banking requests and the electronic wallet, YOP, for clients and non-clients of Société Générale Cameroon. She called on the Ndokoti crew to continuously forge ahead in the company's noble mission of giving their clients the means to have a positive impact on the future.
While we conclude this edition to talk on the first meeting to plan the execution of the 26th edition of the Mount Cameroon Race of Hope, which has held at the Ministry of Sports and Physical Education. It was chaired by the Secretary General of the Ministry of Sports, Joseph Yerima, and attended by the various delegations involved in the organization of the race. Details with Daniel Ekonde.
In attendance were delegations from the Ministries of Sports, Defense, Communication, Health and External Relations, all in a bid to put together their plans on how to pull off the race. In its 26th edition, the Mount Cameroon Race of Hope will have about 500 athletes from Cameroon and 11 other countries.
We have the junior category, we have the senior category, we have the veterans and the relay. Because of the COVID-19 pandemic, we are going to make sure that they have different points of departures.
The journey to this year's edition started weeks ago with preparatory races in 7 regions.
The Governor of Southwest Region signed the decision appointing members of the local organizing committee last 2 weeks, and they all started working. The track of the mountain is very set. We are doing finishing touches.
February 26 to 27 is a schedule for the grand race in Boya, where Reverend Father Walter Stifter, the first man to win the race 3 times in a row, who died recently, will be posthumously remembered.
And join Evelyn Owonai Somba at 8:30 for the news in French. I'll be back same time tomorrow. Until then, stay blessed and see you tomorrow. Good night.
Despite our efforts, COVID-19 plunged many families into mourning and seriously hampered the functioning of our economy and society.
CRTV News, ici, toute l'info.